So we've heard of Sweet Baby Inc. We just recently learned of Black Girl Gamers, and now we're stepping it up a notch. We're moving out of the consultancy realm and we're moving directly into the publisher, the first party realm when it comes to Microsoft publishing new inclusion guidelines for video game developers. Recommends against creating female characters with exaggerated body proportions. Okay, so no more fat chicks? Are we just getting rid of that? All right, Microsoft. Oh wait, no, that's not what they're talking about. They're talking about bringing in Sharia law for, video games. Habibi! I kind of like that. In doing their part to push the entire medium even further towards the final form of a pile of boring and uninspired mush. Microsoft has released a new product inclusion guide for video game developers, which, in addition to a number of other such recommendations aimed to appeasing the terminally online, notably suggests that creators completely abstain from depicting any sexualized or unrealistic female characters within their works. This always just harkens back to, you remember that I talked about that, Stellar Blade. Stellar Blade's the name of the game that's coming out. It's PS5 exclusive, so 6 people will probably play it. It has this unrealistic female character that's based on a real Korean model, but very unrealistic. We can't do that anymore because that's a real person. No. We just need to recreate ham planets on the screen in order to placate ham planets that, well, first of all, their hands are so greasy they can't hold on to a controller, but are never going to play the games to begin with because they get threatened by digital versions of attractive women like Cortana and then continue to sip on their 2,500 calorie Foca Mocha Lacachino and cry out to the world that, it's because of genetics that I have a triple chin. Made public on March 20th as part of the company's appearance at a recent GDC. Oh my God. Microsoft's new A Gaming for Every Product inclusion framework. Every product. Okay, except for the people that like aesthetically pleasing characters. You're just a bigot. Okay. Calls on developers to actively consider 4 specific areas while creating a new title, those being, as per the framework's official website, approachability, which ensures all players, existing and new, experience a novice feel safe and welcome. Cool. What's that old saying? In an attempt to try to please everyone, you end up appealing to and appeasing no one. Wow, imagine that. But we need everybody, which is just the fringe minority with the loud megaphones over there in the corner. Representation, which is never, whenever something's been focused on representation, it has never produced a good result. It doesn't exist. It's feminine form of thinking, because that's exactly what this is. This just innate solipsism where I need to see myself represented. I've seen this, would-be dunk post that was out. I think it was on Twitter. It would have been on Twitter. Just comparing and contrasting these look at these female Eastern artists presenting these, beautiful characters. Oh, she just got big anime titties. It's like, okay, cool. You take a look at the artist and yeah, you got an attractive busty Asian chick. Oh, okay, cool. Writing yourself into your comics, and that's supposed to be a dunk on this golem who's also creating ham planet sized characters in comic books. It's like, wow, you're just kind of exposing women as not being able to see past their own nose when it comes to creative endeavors. Not exactly the dunk that I thought you were going for, but hey, I understand. But realistically, this is what they're going for, because they're under this false assumption that women make up half the gaming audience, when in actuality you're conflating a bunch of numbers. Women do play games 100%. They just happen to be on devices that look like this and less to do with ones that have controllers. Not saying that there aren't girl gamers out there. I'm just saying they like the games for what they are instead of what they think they should be. But here's the 2 other of the 4 points. Globalization, fantastic. You're trying to hone in specifically on a Western-centric set of ideals, terminally online Western-centric set of ideals that don't appeal to anyone abroad. It is about making global players feel at home. Yeah, cool. How are Asian markets responding to all this stuff? Oh, right. Microsoft has never trended higher than of the 3 major companies in the past few higher than 3rd. So good on you for trying to reach a global market. It's not happening. And ensuring that their experience has a local relevance and respect. And then finally, accessibility is about making games and experiences playable with people with disabilities. And yeah, if you focus on approachability and representation, you obviously have disabilities. In service of promoting these values, Microsoft also released a product inclusion action guide for developers to follow in order to keep their titles sufficiently progressive and unoffensive. Having your story told in a universal human universal human need. No, it's not. Having your story told. No. People's stories suck and don't deserve to be told. Some people are still writing their stories. Some people are terrible writers. I don't need to hear your story. It's not a universal human need. More of that bitched up language that ends up leading people to the ultimate ideal that forcing somebody to do something under force or under penalty of the force of the state is somehow a human right. Stupid. But for many in marginalized communities, what, talentless? Is that what we're going with? Or in markets outside the United States? What are you trying to say about that? It's rare to be represented in media. Is it really? Because I take a look, most of the AAA releases that are out there, and I would say me, given who I am, I'm being marginalized by who's actually in the spotlight for most of the games that are out there right now. Horizon? Nope, it doesn't work for me. Forspoken? Nope. Tomb Raider? No. Packing a little bit too much in the front and not enough up top. Terrible, man. It's really terrible. Let alone games. As a result, some people could feel like a secondary consumer for our content. Unbelievable. This is the type of brain rot that makes you just want to check out of the gaming space, okay? If this is what you're focusing on, you deserve all the failings that are coming your way. Writes the Xbox parent company. 80% of media consumed by the world is created in the United States. Imagine that. You know why it used to be consumed by the United States? Just go ahead and cast your mind back to the cultural dominance that the United States had in the 80s. Why the rest of the world sought out American media? Because they liked it for what it was. Groundbreaking idea that you have there. And yet, most media, including video games, don't contain characters and content that align to the broad consumer. Why don't you just go with the obvious assessment to that situation? Wow, 80% of the media is consumed by the world is created by the United States, so therefore we need to change it. No, how about not? Assholes. To this end, Microsoft then presents developers with a set of 10 questions to consider. Oh, fantastic. Are you telling new stories or sharing new perspectives within the product experience? How about the first question? Are you making a fun game? How about that one? Can we focus on that? Do all of your characters' player depictions look the same? Yeah, most games, and the reason why I don't really care that much for most games that are out there is because they just have these empty, aimless character creation screens, which guess what? You can create anything and anyone possible. Big shock on that one, but there's not enough representation when you can literally create a green-skinned, 3-armed midget. Color me shocked. These freaks will just go ahead and sweep that under the carpet. What steps have you taken to ensure characters are represented respectfully and authentically? They don't care about that. It's all about diversity. Have you ever validated assumptions you have made about your audience to check for blind spot? Oh my God, what's this commie bullshit or unintended stereotypes? Imagine if this has to be, your first line of thinking when you're creating a game. No wonder the industry is in the state that it's in at the AAA level. When it comes to the indie and AA space, obviously that shit's thriving. Helldivers 2, Pal World, knocking it out of the park. And everything coming out of the East that isn't subjected to this absolute brain cancer, there's a reason that 80% is shrinking by the day. And finally, would you feel proud to show a member of a community how their culture or character is depicted within your experience? No, let me just go and ask a Batarian how he feels if he's accurately represented in Mass Effect. Shut up. Oh wait, there's more. Our wide range of customers depicted within your products, content, portfolio, and communications. What processes have you used to validate how different groups or people or cultures are represented in your experience? What percentage of screen time or on-screen presence, speaking lines, heroes is held by different gender, racial identities? You have a process to review key decisions in the lens of helping customers feel seen. And finally, are you reinforcing any negative gender stereotypes? Oh my God. You can't tell stories if you're adhering to all of these, or at least you can't tell compelling stories, because you can. Oh, here's a group of diverse people standing in a room, and then some white person came in and clapped because they existed. End of game. Roll credits. And expanding on the last question, Microsoft presented 3 additional sub-questions for developers to consider. Are you unnecessarily introducing gender and gender barriers into your code or design? Unbelievable. Are you creating playable female characters? Oh, so now okay, so I guess the mask is completely off on this one. Who do you care about? Who specifically needs to be there? Oh, okay, cool. That are equal in skill and ability to their male peers? No, because we want to make something that's accurate. I thought accuracy was important here. Are your female characters equipped with clothing and armor that fits their task? Do they have exaggerated body proportions? I'm sorry, what? Compared to what exactly? Do they have titties? Well, that would be exaggerated in comparison to the men that they're supposed to be equal to. The story allows, do you show male characters who display a full range of emotions? Yes, do you have guys crying? Because if you don't, you need to change that, including joy, sadness, and vulnerability. Sorry, ma'am, this is a Wendy's. We're trying to make an action game here. We don't have a point in time where we have characters, sit down and enjoy a slice of pie. It doesn't quite work into our game. Should be noted that while Microsoft did cite 4 studies regarding representation in support of their arguments, all of them are extremely flawed in their methodologies. Exactly, because I posit that this line of thinking has never produced anything good, ever. And every time that this ham-fisted approach has been tried, take a look at what these consultancy companies have produced. Even if you want to look at what Sweet Baby Inc.'s crown jewel, it's so successful game that it's worked on. God of War Ragnarok, okay, consulted on the Angraboda stuff. Overall, the game, the people who played it and just immediately don't want to go, wokes, Noi title, movie game, idiots. I call them idiots. But if they played it, enjoyed the story, appreciated the gameplay, always point to one thing that sucked about it, okay? The long corridor, the walking section, the pace-making sections of the story that included the Sweet Baby Inc. character. Like I said, this stuff doesn't work. And the more that these types of groups, the Sweet Baby Inc. detected groups, the Black Girl Gamer detected groups, pop up and people become aware of the nonsense, see their track record, start to pattern recognize whenever companies like these consultancy firms get into these video games, you know exactly what you're going to expect. And then all they think that they're entitled to so many things that are out there. They are not entitled to your wallet. They are not entitled to your money. Don't fund this nonsense. And the capitalism that they rail against that's ruining society will actually take effect. And their form of crony capitalism that is keeping them employed will eventually run out of money. Stop giving cash to people that hate you. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.